Jasmeen with House of Chiron, and I'm here to make the language of astrology digestible for all of y'all. So not only am I your favorite astrologer, but I am also your Reiki master, your mental health professional, and your community activist. All right, so yes, I do astrology readings. I use whole sign Western astrology for my general readings, and you can also purchase your reading as well as your Reiki session with me if you hit that description box below. All right, so today we are going to be diving deep into the energy surrounding this captivating yet bittersweet Gemini full moon that is concluding this November month. All right, so with that being said, let's move right on into the general forecast for this reading. Now, how this typically works, I give a general overview of what the energy is going to bring us collectively, and then I dive into each sign and let you know what is going to be coming for you based on your rising sign. So once I get there, we will talk more about how to listen intentionally for your reading by your sign. All right. Now, with that being said, let's discuss this full moon that happens at 4 degrees Gemini on November 27th at 3:16 a.m. Central Standard Time. Okay, so full moons. What is a full moon? Full moons are like a grand finale of each month, right? So it's a time for endings. It's a time for wrap ups. It's a time for closure, releasing and letting things go. It's a culmination of the last 6 months. So if we think back to a time of, during Gemini season, when we had the Gemini new moon, what was going on during that time? What happened? What began? What new beginnings or new cycles started around this time during Gemini season? So that is somewhere between May or June of this year. And now we are seeing a culmination of that energy happening now, right? So if there's something that you have been itching to release or let go of in your life, this is the moment that the universe is like, all right, bet, I hear you, let it go, right? Let the universe know your intentions, let the Most High know your intentions, and these things are going to just kind of make their way to be released, all right? Now, with this full moon, there's a blended energy, okay? It's an opportunity to not only bid farewell to some things that cause confusion and uncertainty and maybe even some self-doubt, but it's also a perfect time for us to shift our focus to what is going to boost our confidence and boost that sense of certainty that we need in order to go after, the path, the vision, or the goals that we have set for ourselves. So this full moon can kind of kick our monkey brains into overdrive if we are not really careful, and that's because it's a Gemini full moon. And so remember that you need to keep your thoughts in check and make room for practices like journaling and meditation, things that are going to help you tap into your parasympathetic nervous system to kind of calm you down. That Mercury and Gemini energy rules our mental capacities. It rules our brains, our nervous system. So make sure you are slowing down, practicing the pause and breathing through any issues that may arise, because this Gemini full moon is going to be coming through with some shocks, some surprises, and it's going to be a tricky one. It's not an easy full moon, okay? Now, the Gemini's mental energy is quick and versatile, right? So Gemini loves the thrill of multitasking. However, when you are challenged, it's like trying to juggle too many things all at once. And this is what's leading to the confusion and the mistakes and the potential burnout that we have been experiencing. Okay, so it's kind of like having your hands in too many pots, having spreading yourself too thin across the board. And so it's telling you right now with this full moon to hone in on what's important, prioritize, and kind of let go of the things that does not necessarily align to the overall vision. Okay, because you got to think about what's opposite of Gemini, Sagittarius. We're currently in Sagittarius season. So the focus is on that vision, the overall vision, the goal, that Sagittarius energy, but, paying attention to the detail and not spreading ourselves too thin by putting ourselves out there in too many different spaces is the goal and the key. So this full moon is going to help us release what is no longer in alignment, what is no longer benefiting us, and where it is causing much confusion in our life. So the full moon is going to be making several different aspects. So it goes head to head, first and foremost, with Mars, and it squares off with Saturn. So it's going to be in a conjunction with Mars, and Mars is eager for, adventures. It is, freshly moved into the sign of Sagittarius, and it's currently at 2 degrees. So it's not an exact conjunction with the sun, but it is going to be like at that 2 degree orb. So it's very close, and you're still going to be able to feel it. And it's going in this opposition to the moon. Excuse me, I think I said it was in a conjunction, but I meant opposition to the moon, right? And then Saturn is going to be squaring both the moon and the sun. So Saturn is bringing the waves of caution, right? It's like, hey, pay attention, there's something happening. And it's telling us to slow down and pay attention to the details, pay attention to what is going to provide us longevity, right? So now, also, if you take into consideration that this is a Gemini full moon, right? And Mercury is the ruler of this full moon. So this is going to be bringing us a bit out of sorts with that enthusiastic Sagittarius energy, where it's butting heads, also with that Neptune and Pisces, because Mercury is the ruler of this moon. Mercury is currently in Sagittarius as well, and it's going to be making a square to that Neptune energy in Pisces. So when we have so many mutable squares that are active, we can feel overwhelmed, we can feel indecisive, we can even be a bit distracted, maybe even confused or frustrated, because there's just too much going on and something got to get let go of. We have to release something. Also, Mercury square Neptune is typical. It is, textbook for miscommunication and not seeing things clearly, or not being able to communicate things clearly, or like I said, not being able to make a decision, that indecisiveness. So when you take into account the Mercury energy along with the Neptune energy and the Saturn and Mars energy, there's a lot of things that are going to be coming to a head. Now, Saturn is being active at this time. It's just like a reminder for us to communicate and uphold our boundaries, especially with Saturn being in Pisces, right? So Saturn is currently at 0 degrees Pisces, and that is screaming that we are not upholding our boundaries in certain areas, that we know we need to uphold these boundaries, right? So challenging in the areas occupied by, that bendable, mutable energy from like Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So we have the sun in Sagittarius. We have both Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. We have this moon happening in Gemini. Currently, we don't have anything in Virgo, but, do we? I don't think so. No, because I think Venus is still in Libra. So anywho, now we are going to be getting these reminders about our communication and our boundaries with this Saturn energy and the mutable energy that's kind of like making this play. Now, Mars, so I was speaking about Mars being in Sagittarius, and it's bringing the buried frustrations up to the surface, forcing us to face the fear, break through blockages, and eliminate those distractions that's hindering us from achieving our goals, from getting to that bigger vision, right? That Sagittarius overall general vision. And unfortunately, with that frustration Mars brings, is going to be a potential for arguments and disputes that can potentially set us back from achieving those goals, right? So it's important that we're practicing the pause. It's important that we are making calculated decisions, that we are not hyper impulsive on acting on a thing, right? Respond rather than react, right? Because a response requires thought. A reaction does not, right? It's impulsive. It is primal almost. So, try and tap in with yourself and see where you are, see what's going on around you before you have a quick reaction rather than respond. Okay. Now, additionally, we have Venus here. Now, Venus is in a conjunction with the South Node, and this is also kind of like playing a role in this energy. And the South Node and Venus are both in Libra, and it's squaring Pluto, which is in Capricorn. And it's, nearing the end degrees of going through Capricorn before it re-enters into Aquarius. And so this is activating some tumultuous, like ecliptic kind of energy. And so when we think about, the Venus energy being there in Libra, the South Node is there, could bring up some past life things, or some previous situations could resurface. There could be some old emotions that come up, or old situations that come up, to show us precisely what or whom we need to purge from our lives once and for all, whether it is a obsessive or overly attached kind of way of doing or being or thinking or seeing that we need to let go of. So no matter what's brewing during this, chaotic Gemini full moon, remember, it's all about quality over quantity, embracing the changes, releasing what no longer serves you, letting the cosmic energy kind of guide you towards a brighter path. And even though there might be some challenges that come up with this full moon, it's forcing you up and out of stagnation, right? Because that's been the key. We've been feeling stagnant in several different areas of our life. And this full moon is going to be assisting us with releasing whatever is holding us back, those blockages that's creating that stagnation. So now going through this, don't forget, to kind of like take heed of everything that I said in this. Now, I hope that that general overview kind of like gave you an idea of what's to come collectively. Now we're about to get into the readings for all 12 signs, but before we dive into that, I just want to have a few quick announcements. First and foremost, we do have the House of Chiron astrology merch. We have the Astro and Afros and the Cosmically Locked shirt line. We have hoodies, we have beanies, we have bucket hats, we have dad hats. We have House of Chiron merch. We actually have like actual House of Chiron, like it says it on there, like bags and so on and so forth, t-shirts and whatnot. So you can go ahead and obtain your merch for the holiday season. I did not do like a Black Friday sale. I typically don't do sales and whatnot, just, because I typically try to make all of my pricing for everything very reasonable. So there's no sale on these. Unfortunately, I missed it this year, but never know, I might do one sometime soon. But yeah, go ahead and hit the description box. You can get your merch down below. Also, we do still have the readings. They are going to be opening up again for like a new batch for December. Like I said, I only do a certain amount per month. So first come, first serve. And they are going to be opening back up for December on the day before the month ends. So on the last day of November, then you can start booking your readings for December. You have a 30-minute or a 60-minute time slot for your natal chart readings. If you are looking to get any other type of reading, please feel free to email me and we can work something out regarding that. But for the most part right now, what I'm offering is the natal chart readings. You have a 30-minute or a 60-minute. But I am open to do other type of readings. If you just kind of like send me that inquiry, you can find that link also on my website where you can send me an inquiry, you can send me an email. Also, last but not least, we do have the free PDF cheat sheet. It's a 30-page book basically of all the astrology terminology, the lingo, so that way you can follow along when you're listening to these videos. And when I throw out like these different words and this vocabulary, you can understand what it means and kind of have some insight. And that is free. All you need to do is just provide me your email and you can download that and it's all yours. Okay. It's an ebook, so you can just, keep it digitally or you can print it out, however best suits you. All right. So I think that is all the announcements that I have. So with that being said, let's move right on into the readings for all 12 signs. And so, like I always mention before we dive into this, make sure you are listening for your sun, moon, and your rising sign. Now, for this particular energy, if you are a mutable sign anywhere near that 4 degrees energy, I would say anywhere from 0 to about 12 degrees of mutable energy. So that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, especially if that is your rising sign, then those are going to be the individuals who are highly affected by this energy, this Gemini full moon. So keep that in mind. Now, also, make sure, like I said, you're listening for your sun, moon, and rising signs. Okay. So first and foremost is going to be your rising sign. That's the most accurate reading for your sign. Secondary will be your sun sign. That is your focus, your goals. It can also reflect your career as well as your work life. And last but not least will be your moon sign. That is directly reflecting your home and family life, your living situations. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to start off with Aries, sun, moon, and rising. So this Gemini full moon is happening in your 3rd house, right? So this is the house of, your immediate environment, your vehicles, your transportation, your perspective. It's about, your vehicles and small business and things that you learn, lower level education, maybe even your siblings. So you're being called to break free from that stagnant subconscious energy that's, been kind of like holding you back regarding your perspective on the world. So you're being guided to like shift your perspective a little bit. So there may be like mental conflict that's going on inside of you. And it's time for you to kind of make a decision on where you are going or what you truly believe in. It might be like a mental conflict and other issues about making a decision that you're being guided to kind of make at this time. Regarding like education or maybe even travel pursuits, they may have some conflicts or issues that kind of come up abruptly during this full moon energy. So kind of keep that in mind. All right. So for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your second house. So this is in regards to your finance and friendships, right? So um this is going to be the main focus. So you're going to be looking to see who are the friends and the connections that do not stand the test of time, and then allowing this Gemini full moon to release that, maybe even certain goals that you have that needs to be released. And that's because that Saturn energy is in your 11th house. So that's where you're being shown where the issues are. Okay. And so that weight of those connections that are too heavy are going to be released. There's a need to be focused on where you are spending your energy. So perhaps you are, hanging out with different groups of individuals, and some of them are, just kind of frivolous. Some of them are just meaningless kind of connections just because you are affiliated with these different organizations or these different large groups. And so you're in a space of needing to spend time with the solid people, right? Another thing that may come up is debts, taxes, maybe investments. These could pose an issue right now. So you might have a bill that come up and you need to resolve it. Challenges and imbalances with work, health, and routines are also being released during this time because you have that Libra energy in your 6th house, okay? So now, for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your sign. So it's in your 1st house, the house of yourself, your outlook on the world, and also first impressions, right? So stagnancy within who it is that you are, how you have been holding yourself back, especially, pertaining your career and your public reputation, right? That's coming now to be more apparent. So there's going to be a calling for you to kind of work through removing those blocks. And there's a conflict that's happening with others that is creating those blocks as well. So maybe a person in a position of authority that could be blocking you from achieving the goals that you have set out. So this energy is telling you to narrow down what you are doing with your career and not spreading yourself too thin. You have your hands in too many places, too many buckets, and you're trying to do way too much when you just need to focus on doing one thing at a time right now, because it's not helping you achieve the ultimate goal that you're trying to get to. Okay. So for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your 12th house. So this is the house of not only secrets, but it's the house of, health as well, like healing, but it's the house of mental health, the house of the subconscious patterns. It's about, secret or hidden places like asylums and prisons and things like that. But also it is the house of like creativity, and this is the house that rules like unconditional love, right? It's a Pisces ruled kind of energy. And so the authenticity and the integrity that you have of yourself and others must align with your values. If not, it will be revealed, right? So things that are being illuminated right now coming up to the surface. So health situations could be surfacing. So you might find yourself getting sick under the Gemini full moon. And of course, it all depends on what's going on in your chart. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be something that is terminal or anything like that. It might be a cold, might be something small. However, there might be a focus for you to kind of like check your routines and your daily habits and things like that, because it's affecting your health, right? A misalignment of your routines could be affecting you mentally as well as physically, right? So also your work could be blocking you from other plans, from doing things that you really want to work on, the creative aspect of things, okay? So for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this is happening in your 11th house. So this is going to be about conflicts within your finances, your fun, or your hobbies, because that energy is going to be opposite in your 5th house, right? This also could indicate like a romantic partner could be blocking you from doing your hobbies or wanting to do something with your children, right? So having to be, and if it's not a partner, it could be just someone in a position of authority, someone that you see as an authority figure, right? And so this is about having to be disciplined and serious about your finances so you can kind of get back that sovereignty, get back your authenticity. And this is also a great time to connect with friends and social connections to get insight about creative projects or about your children or about your romantic life, right? So this also could indicate that you are releasing friendships that no longer align to your authentic self as well. All right. So for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your 10th house of career and public image, as well as your legacy. So these energies are going to be highlighted with this moon. You will see what's blocking you from moving forward with your career and your goals and your plans. And for the most part, it's always ourselves, right? So you're focused on the areas that are not priorities or things that can't be fixed, right? And they're not the goal, right? You need to just kind of like let them be what they are and not focus on that. You need to work through something when it's pertaining you achieving these goals in your career. And also there might be something going on within your relationships, whether it's a business partnership or a actual relationship, an intimate relationship, because of that Saturn and that Neptune energy that's going on in your 7th house. Okay, so creating better boundaries, whether it's with friends, family, or within the home. All right, it also might be some power struggles that are going on within finances. This could surface as well. Okay, so for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this is happening in your 9th house. So this is the house of travel, your belief systems, higher education. These things are going to be the focus. And you could have more energy during this time to actually tackle things, Libra. And so you might find yourself kind of like traveling or wrapping up a travel pursuit or an educational pursuit that's happening at this time. So there could be issues with travel or education or other responsibilities, or even if you are like a caregiver for someone else and you need to assert more boundaries with how you do so, how you are, expending your energy because you have other things that are priority. And so kind of recognizing where you are blocking yourself from achieving your goal, your higher education goal, or your belief system goal, or something along those lines. Maybe even releasing or letting go of a certain belief system that no longer aligns with who it is that you are, right? Because you have the South Node in your 1st house right now. And the South Node and Venus is there, and it's kind of like releasing things that don't align to your values, right? Things that don't benefit you. All right. So for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon, I hope I said full moon. I've been wanting to say new moon, but anywho, Scorpio, this is happening in your 8th house. So this is all about joint finances, your taxes, debts, secrets, divination, things that are of the occult, right? So this is going to be the focus. It's also about like your psyche, your psychological things. So there might be some fears about finances that could surface, and it could come from the desire to want to do something, but you can't because you don't have the money there, right? You don't have the resources there to get you the thing. And resources doesn't always have to be money. You just don't have the resources, whatever they may be. The blockages are coming from either finances or the lack of resources, but there needs to be some type of reassessment. So there may be a new financial opportunity that comes up at this time that requires discipline in order to manage it correctly so it can be beneficial. A partner's finances might change during this time, and that could provide a bit of ease or insight into what's blocking you, so to speak, or you might, like, your partner's finance could change, like either they lose income or their income changes where they get an increase or a decrease or however, but it kind of like it gives you an insight on how like you're going to be moving forward with the discipline, right? So for instance, it could be like your partner was getting paid twice a month, but now they're going to be getting one lump sum once a month. And so that kind of gives you a different outlook on how you can structure your bills or something like that. Something as mundane as that, right? All right, so for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your 7th house. So this is a house of partnerships, marriage, interpersonal relationships, and commitments. These things are being highlighted right now. So you could be feeling a bit irritated about your home and family, your relationship dynamics, and you might want to do something, within the home or implement something, but you have other responsibilities that you got to manage first. And you also might want to do something within your career, but you can't at this time because you have other responsibilities that you want to take care of. There might be some changes within relationships, and you might also be releasing something at this time that isn't authentic with how you show up in your partnership with others, or your connection or your commitments to others, or just your commitments in general. So it's like, hey, I need to be more reliable. Like, I'm kind of flaky. I need to be more reliable. So I'm going to release that. I'm going to, work on that. And it could be something that is highlighted. So someone else might highlight that you do this and bring it to your awareness. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was flaking out on people in this way. Let me just, shape up. So something like that could be happening at this time. All right. So for Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising, this Gemini full moon is happening in your sixth house. So this represents your daily routines, your work, your pets, your health. These things are all being highlighted with this moon. And there is something going on like within hospitals or mental health, or even with hidden enemies or other hidden things that need your attention that could be coming up to the surface and be illuminated right now. Mental health could be a thing, or how you have been self-sabotaging yourself, right? You may feel the need to chill and be low key and kind of retreat inward, but right now is not a time for rest. You could even be having disruption in your sleep, having some wild and crazy dreams or sleep patterns. And there also might be some type of indulgence or something that's going on at work, or an old connection with work could come back to the surface. There could also be some power and control issues that's happening within your career, because you have that Libra energy in your 10th house of career. Okay. So for Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising, so this Gemini full moon is happening in your 5th house. Okay. So this is the house that represents joy and hobbies and children and romance and creative projects. So you're going to be getting a better energy with this full moon, Aquarius. So there might be some issues with finances and wanting to do things that require money, whether it's like having fun with your kids, or, you know, investing in like a creative project, or just going out and having fun with your friends and just like indulging in some hobbies and whatnot. And it can build frustrations at this time, because you know, those conflicts that are arising are surrounding like your desires and your friendships. So your friends might want to do something, you can't do it because you don't have the resources, or because you have other responsibilities, like, you know, you have your kids and things like that. So doing something fun and focus on yourself during the time of the moon is great. You know, whether it's like, you know, you just take yourself out to experience something, you know, that brings joy to your life, and doing it in like a solo vibe, you know, just to kind of like reconnect with your own sense of sovereignty and authenticity. This is a time to kind of retreat and engage with your inner child a little bit, sparking that life inside of you again, right? That vitality, just to kind of like give yourself a sense of rebirth. Yeah. So last but not least is going to be our wonderful Pisces. So this Gemini full moon is happening in your 4th house of home and family dynamics. And so these things could be getting shaken up a little bit due to the blocks that are happening in your career and your public reputation. So there may be some arguments that create issues with your responsibilities, or you are recognizing that you're preventing yourself from achieving what you want. You may be the one procrastinating and taking the victim role instead of taking responsibility for your part in the delays that you are experiencing within your home or your career. You know, family could help you gain perspective surrounding these things and help you kind of take that accountability that you need in order to gain your power back, right? Take your power back and empower yourself to kind of like take that lead role to achieve those goals that you have set out, you know, that you put down on paper and that you say, you know, you're going to achieve and that you're going to do. So yeah, that is it. And that's all that I have for you all for this Gemini full moon. So that being said, I hope that this has been beneficial and helpful for you all. I look forward to connecting with you. Keep watch for the December forecast. It's the last month of 2023 coming up, y'all. We are there. We are there. So we're going to be talking about what is it? We're going to be talking about Mercury station in retrograde very soon, and all the things. So yeah, keep watch for those videos that are coming up. And then I will be putting out forecasts and whatnot for 2024 and so on and so much more, all the things. So y'all have a wonderful rest of the month. I hope you had a great holiday season. If you happen to celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you had a great holiday season with your family and those that you love. And once again, real quick announcements, go ahead and hit the description box so you can gain access to the House of Chiron merch, as well as our astrology readings and our Reiki sessions. Okay. So have a good one. Talk to you soon.